Runs kindly for Morrison. It's Cal Morrison! Just listen to this, please! Spencer takes over. It's Brad Spencer! It's in the back of the net! There's Donaldson driving forward. Cole Donaldson! That is simply ridiculous! There's Tom Lang! Oh my word! Unbelievable! Phenomenal! Incredible! Invincible!
This is Falkirk Daft.
With Behind the Wall and the Falkirk football fans in training.
The Bairns are back in the Championship, and what a feeling it was when that flag was unfurled on Friday night. 39 games unbeaten now in the league. We're not counting the playoffs, of course. The Navy Blue juggernaut keeps on rolling, and of course there's a small matter of a trip to East End Park to come this week. Oh, it's getting exciting. I'm John McAnally, and I'm joined by the ginger god of pod, the one-man band in the main stand. It is Mr. Ross Wayne, everyone.
39 and counting sounds absolutely brilliant, doesn't it?
Does sound good, doesn't it? Let's make it 40 with that wee trip to East End as well, eh?
That would be nice, that would be nice.
Good to be back in the, well, you know, we've been in the stadium already this season, but it just, you know, with 5,500 Falkirk supporters there on Friday, it was just a great atmosphere and a great night. It
was perfect. It was absolutely perfect. If we could have picked how it was all going to go, a fantastic ovation for Gordon Wright's family for the flag unfurling, then we have the flag unfurling, the TV cameras there, ultras were on good form. The crowd in general was in good form, actually. That noise, we'll talk about it, but that noise in the last 2 or 3 minutes of the match was just that. I don't think I've heard anything like it at the stadium from everybody, and it felt like everybody was doing the whole alley-oh. It was brilliant.
I know, it was great, absolutely brilliant. We decided to go out for a couple of early pints. Our sponsors, Behind the Wall, remember, stay local, eat and drink global. We bumped our owner and friend Brian Flynn. We had a couple of drinks with him, and we sampled the Invincibles pint. Now, Ross is a Tennent's man, obviously, ordinarily, but he came off the Tennent's to sample the Invincible lager. What do you make of it, Ross?
Really nice. Not too dissimilar from Tennent's, actually. So if anyone is a fan of Tennent's or enjoys a drink of it, they'll enjoy this one as well. Really nice crisp lager. I'm not a beer / lager like guru, but it was drinkable, which is my kind of passes the make sense test with me. So because if you drink it, then you enjoy it, then ergo you'll have another one. It was really nice, and the glasses are a nice wee touch as well.
And do you know what, the glasses, Brian was selling them off for £1 because he just knows that Falkirk supporters are going to go in there and try and get it into their wife's handbags, as people normally do. So if you are going in, don't steal the glasses, right? Just ask behind the bar and they'll sell you it for £1, which is unbelievable when you think about it. And the pint, I have to say, really, really good. I had more than one, let's just say that, on Friday, pre-game and post-game as well. And remember, Behind the Wall, you got that £5 ticket. We went down in the bus. It's a £5 ticket for the home games. And then when you come back, you get a complimentary drink with your ticket. I had a lovely pint of Madry after the game, so I went back up. And luckily, Ross didn't go back up to the pub after the game, so I got his ticket as well. So I got two drinks.
Was it 2 Madrys, or did you go for something else?
I had 2 Madrys. Nice. 2 Madrys, so thoroughly enjoyed that. So that's a great deal that they do, and obviously they're running buses to away games with the same deals happening as well. So get involved if you're looking to get down to the match days. Go Behind the Wall, get your £5 ticket by talking to Scott behind the bar or Brian, and they'll sort you out with that. And then you can fire down the game, get back up to the pub, and of course sample the Falkirk Invincible Lager, which is brewed by Belhaven, Brian was telling me. And I thought it was cracking, really, really enjoyed it. And they've got some really nice ales on there. I know you don't like your ales, Ross. I know, you know, you're not a camera member and you just stick with the tents, but I have to say the selection ales they've got on at the moment is cracking as well. I had a couple of those as well. I had a bit of a night out, I'll be honest with you. In terms of stuff going on at the club, it's been a relatively quiet week, Ross.
Yes, it has. Not a lot from a club perspective. It was all geared up towards Friday night, wasn't it? However, the amazing Invincible book is ready for collection, and having read it now cover to cover, it is such a fantastic read. Really.
Pablo's done a fantastic job, as have all the contributors as well. Lewis, I think, contributed. We had a few, the Ultras. I Andrew at the club did all the interviews with the players, and it's a great read. So there was a couple of typos in my bit, by the way. I just know I was rereading it. I was like, "Oh, someone hasn't proofread this." I'm sure I proofread it, and there's been edits that have been made in it. But it was a couple of typos. But it was great to be asked to write a bit for that, and it was good to have Falkirk Daft represented in the book. And there's still books available. Everything's going into the club, so I think the broke even number's gone. So all the money now just goes into the club, and then if there's demand, Pablo will do another run, and that's because it's less to do when he gets another run of it. It's cheaper, so even more money goes into the club. So that is available for collection just now if you ordered one, and if you haven't, get one ordered. And even if you stash it away for Christmas, I know it's too early to be thinking about Christmas, but if you stash it away for Christmas or something like that, it's something that, you're always going to go back to. You're always going to have it in your bookshelf, and just remember that season where Falkirk kind of still don't tire of saying this, we're invincible. So
I don't think we'll ever tire of talking about them, will we? Plus, you want to get a copy before Invincibles 2 comes out next.
Absolutely. I think the other big news to come out of the club this week was that salt and chili chicken pie is now available for Pie Sports in the stalls. And again, Pie Gate Rumble's on. We'll be looking at the prices when we go to Dunfermline on Pie Watch next week. We realise at Local View it was £3, so when we go to Dunfermline next week, we'll see how much the pie at Dunfermline costs next week. Though I have to say, it's Stevens the Bakers at Dunfermline, and by the way, they're bloody good. See the bridies you get from the Dunfermline. I'm quite looking forward to that, because Stevens the Bakers is pretty good in it. The club's there, but the bakers and the pies are really good.
I think, as we've talked about before, the food prices are probably going to be much of a muchness across. In fact, Jamie said as much, didn't he, when we asked him about catering? He said he had spoke to 4 or 5 teams about prices and offerings and budgets and all this kind of stuff. So I don't think it'll be too dissimilar. Ayr was almost identical from a food perspective. So, but yeah, do you know what was interesting though? There was obviously a lot of chat in the last few weeks about like people boycotting the pie hut and stuff. That certainly wasn't evident on Friday night in the main stand, because the queues were back to being what they would normally be. There was a big crowd in, so you would expect it to be, but it didn't look as if people, the vast majority of people anyway, were holding back their cash.
I love the fact someone in the Come On You Bairns Facebook page had said, "I will not be buying a pie on Friday," and then there was just this massive pile on to this poor guy.
Pile on.
I see what you did. By the way, going back to the Invincibles book, I forgot to say, we've been meaning to do this for weeks. We've got a winner for our competition. We ran a competition on our social media. So please follow us at Falkirk Daft for the chance to win play competitions and stuff like that. But this one, it was a like and share the post. And the winner of the Invincible books is Ranald Henderson, who describes himself on his Twitter profile as Scotland Falkirk Metal, open brackets, family and physics permitting. So love that. Ranald Henderson, you have won the Invincibles book, so thank you very much. Chose it at random by us, and I'll be walking away. We'll get in touch with you and we'll get your details so we can get that book sorted out for you. And rumour has it that it might be signed as well.
By you?
Not by me. So, by the team. By the team. There's the guys that are left. There might be a few signatures on there. That is the rumour I have been led to believe by our friend Pablo, who wrote the book. So yeah, well done, Ranald. And we'll get that sorted out for you. I just thought it'd be interesting. There's been a couple of, looking around, because we've not had much news this week, but there's been a lot of goings on elsewhere around the championship. Let's go back to, I think it was on Thursday, this story broke that Hamilton players walked out of the club because they hadn't been paid due to a banking error. Interesting. I know for a fact it was a definite walkout, because the under-18s and one of my friend's boys plays at Hamilton, and they were basically involved in it as well, because I think they had been just round the club like all the senior pros, and under-18s are part of the club as well, and they said, right guys, up to you if you want to walk out or not, but it was pretty much, I suggest you do. So everyone actually walked out. I mean, presumably the situation's been resolved now, because obviously Hamilton were playing on Saturday, but worrying times when that happens. I mean, it might have just been a banking error, but sometimes there's no smoke without fire, you know?
The only thing I would say, right, and I
You
don't want
work, you work in that industry,
I
Ross,
work in the financial services, right? So things do go wrong from time to time. Of course they do. And things go wrong in every line of work, right? However, if this was the first time that had happened, John, there is no way that the players have then down tooled, and left the building. That to me suggests that this is not the first time. It might not even be the second time. It could be the third or the fourth time that they've not had their wages paid on time. Mm-hmm. Because see if your boss or my boss come to me and say, listen, there's been a wee issue with pay this month. Bearing in mind it's never happened like hundreds of months before. Of course you would just go, oh, all right, okay. When will it be sorted? Okay, brilliant. We'll move on. You don't just walk out and stop what you're doing. So for me, as you said, there's more to it. It's a basket case of a club. We saw this last year. The owners just seem to be doing what they.
There was a big kick-off about I remember there's an anniversary top for Hamilton, I think, that's come out.
50th anniversary end of
and there was a massive kick-off because it's using obviously a brand that no one's ever heard of, and it looked like a hooky top that you would buy on holiday, I think. Yeah. I know they actually went back from what I hear and redesigned the top because it was that massive kick-off with it. But it's and they've went out and they've signed a lot of players. Hamilton, I mean, Ollie Shaw will not be coming cheap in this league. They have got a lot of good players. Although I did see that Scott Martin got sent off at the weekend there. But it's interesting to see what will happen there and how if that is a developing thing, because they have, I believe, just bought the ground as well, Ross.
That was a lot of the chat that was on social media, and I think it may have even been Hamilton that put something out as well. Just a really worrying time if you're an Accies fan, because it just seems to be one farcical situation.
When you look at the ticket prices, £26 to get into Hamilton.
That's a disgrace.
That's mental.
It is shocking prices. And I saw the Ayr crowd wasn't actually that bad on Saturday. I don't know how many the overall crowd was really poor. It was like 1,400. But I would assume Ayr probably had the vast majority of that number. But how long is that going to last? People won't be paying £26. The other issue they'll have is people will just buy a concession or a juvenile and go in because the in the nicest way, and it's the same with a lot of these clubs. They don't check. So people will not pay. Whereas if it was 21, 22, they'll just pay it and go because it's the norm. But an extra 4 or 5 quid is just really poor.
So it'll be interesting to see what happens. The other big news as we record this today is that Ian Murray's been dumped out of Wraith Rovers. It's like, whoa, what is... and I believe it was for results. In the statement, it was claiming it was results. I mean, they've only been beaten once in the league this season, which was yesterday, which is it's just crazy.
Yeah, it doesn't add up, to be honest. So they're saying it's because of the results since the turn of the year. Wraith did magnificently well against a far bigger budget and a far bigger spend than Dundee United last year.
Yeah,
and they only really got pipped towards the last few weeks of the season. Obviously the playoffs didn't go for them. I just feel there's more to it. It's interesting. I played Airdrie yesterday. I believe from reading social media that Airdrie have this weird sign over Wraith that the Airdrie's beat them every game for the last 12 games or something like that.
Oh wow.
So it's a bit an insane record. However, would you be surprised if there's been a conversation at Airdrie yesterday between somebody at Wraith and the manager?
McCabe. It's interesting though. In saying that though, Ross, Callum Fordyce, who obviously was Rhys McCabe's assistant, something's clearly happened there because I think they're cousins as well, Fordyce and McCabe, and he's obviously left the club and ended up over at Wraith Rovers now. So if Rhys McCabe comes back in, it might be some awkward things going on. The only thing you've got to worry about, and I don't think they would go, is come back from McGlynn. I think probably the whole situation, we know why John left the club, it was pretty much down to the Good Willie thing that what happened, and I think he felt hung out to dry on that. So I don't think they'd come back in for McGlynn, or would they?
I hope not, and I don't think they would either. No, I think it'll be. There's a few names, early names, been kicking about. So Reece
McCabe's,
Michael Tidser at Kelty's been named as well.
Well, that would make a lot of sense as well, because John Potter obviously worked with Tidser at Kelty and is now behind the scenes at Wraithover. I think I can't remember if he's head of football or something like that.
Kevin Thompson's name's been bandied about again.
Kevin Thompson, yeah, I think he's settled in at Rangers now. I think he's coaching the Rangers side of things now.
But yeah, it's an interesting one. Listen, see, selfishly, anything that disrupts a competitor in our league, I'm all for it, to be honest. So if this ends up cocking up Wraith to a degree for a period of time, see it is Airdrie and it's Reece McCabe, it'll then have a knock-on effect to Airdrie as well. So yeah, I'm here for it.
Absolutely. Listen, last week we were talking about volunteers, and my kind of opinion, was that if the club are making money, I think people should be making money as well. But speaking to our friend Joe, who got in touch with the podcast, says, I know everyone wants money these days, but I would recommend the likes of programme selling, hospitality hosting to anyone. She's a veteran of this. Just being in and around the club is fantastic. I'm going to stop because I need to be SIA licensed. With programmes, I got £2 if I sold out, along with free entry and free programmes, similar with turnstiles. Hosting I did just for the free entry for a few years before the rules changed due to the tax, man. I loved every minute, and we would recommend to any young person or just anyone who maybe can't afford entry to the games, just want something to add to their CV. So there you go. Joe is stand up for the volunteers. So I think that's still out there. If you want to volunteer at the club and do something, if it means you're getting experience, or if you're a young person, just saves you a bit of money and you get into the games for free, get involved with the club, because Joe highly recommends it. She had a good conversation with her about it on Friday.
She'll not be happy you've called her a veteran, though.
That is very true. Well, I'll wait for that coming back to haunt me. Another person that's been in touch as well, actually, if you're struggling to get to Dunfermline, our friend of the podcast and a friend of every Falkirk supporter, Rob Fleming, who's always helping out with how to get to games on the public transport. You'll have seen him on the COYB Falkirk page. But Rob, if you've not got a ticket or like a bus for the Dunfermline game, Rob's got a wee hack for you here. There is a stagecoach from Fife that runs from the Forth Valley Hospital and it stops right outside East End Park. It's the X24 and the X27, which is the Glasgow St Andrews leaving Kirkcaldy route. Departs the hospital at 51 and 21 past the hour. So if you were to get the 151 on Saturday, it'll get you to East End Park, pretty much at the door of East End Park for 2:30. And then you can get the bus back from there, same bus stop, at 08 and 38 past the hour. So there you go. Fourth, if you've not got a ticket for a supporters bus there, Rob's got it for you. X24 and X27 from the Forth Valley Hospital, and you'll get there.
And if you do Dunfermline away properly, you'll be needing the hospital potentially after the game. So then it takes you straight there.
Oh, yeah, exactly. It's all sorted for you. Absolutely. And bus passes are accepted. That's why I think Rob's always, I always see pictures of Rob on public transport travelling here, there and everywhere. He just goes on wee days out. Fair play to him. But there you go. If you're looking for a cack to get to Dunfermline, Rob's got it sorted for you. There you go. And we've got a shout out as well to do, Ross. Is that right?
We have, yes. We've had a wee message from, again, another fan of the podcast, Ingrid. She's a shout out to her husband, Dale Wilson, who a lot of people know. He's recovering from a hip operation in the last couple of days, and which we didn't know. We weren't aware of that. So hope he gets well soon, and he's on the mend as well, and he can get back to watching the Bairns in action.
Smashing. Right, okay, let us talk about Friday's game, and we're going to do it in the company of a man who is involved with Falkirk TV. In fact, he's been doing co-coms for a few games this season. It is Drew Barton.
Thank you very much. Glad to be here.
No, you know what we should do? We've learned that you're a school teacher, Drew, so we should say, hello, Mr. Barton.
Good afternoon, boys and girls.
Right now, Drew, me and Ross, before the podcast started, right, we want to have a wee competition there. We're going to guess what subject that you teach, okay? Ross, you go first.
I'm thinking it's like computing or IT or something like that.
I'm going to go for physics.
No, no.
Oh,
Miles out.
maths.
Home economics or something like that.
No. Slightly
Hospitality now,
closer,
Ross, not
slightly
the
closer.
homies.
Slightly closer to home
Slightly
ec.
closer.
Right, okay.
Take.
No.
Wait, John, what's close to home economics that
Think faculty-wise health stuff.
PE?
Yes.
PE
Oh, there we
teacher.
go.
There you go.
I used to be. That's what I'm trained in. I used to be a PE teacher. I did that at Falkirk High for many, many years, but I do guidance now.
Right.
kind of
Now that
all
explains
trades.
Now Drew played with us in the game that we played against the fit team. That explains the engine that Drew has on him. By the way, he was up and down on the playing that right back, and the sterling job you did as well, Drew.
Well, yeah, it was a real fun. That's probably the most fun I've had playing football for a long time. It was such a good laugh in that game.
Can I just tell you, you were my favourite of the fullbacks.
Oh, thank you. I was about to say. I was about to say the whole reason I felt so assured was because I knew I had a Falkirk legend behind me, so it was all good. It's all good.
Amazing. Drew, we'll ask the first question we always ask everyone that comes on is, what was your first Falkirk match?
Well, the first one I was taken, I don't actually remember much about it because I was still a Glory Hunting Aberdeen fan at the time. But I was taken by somebody's dad, and the only thing I remember is the fans changing ends at half time, which kind of blew my mind a bit. But the one I remember was the last game of the 85-86 season against East Fife. We drew 2 each. We came second place and got promoted to the Premier League. So
That's a good game to remember.
brilliant! It was just brilliant, and first pitch invasion, man, it was just great.
I know we've had a couple of those in the last year. It's been fantastic.
Yeah. So that was my first one. Great memories, and just from there, just hooked.
Yeah, right, and now we're going to switch it up this season with the questions. We usually will ask you who your favourite Falkirk player, but we thought we'd switch it up this season. Who's the worst person to pull on the navy blue?
Oh, goodness me.
I think it's going to. I think everyone's just going to go to immediate history and think of any of the players that played in that Paul Hartley side.
Yes, unfortunately, I've forgotten all their names, so they're erased from my memory. If I go back to when I first started watching Falkirk, let's think. Probably there's a guy called Hugh Hill that used to play.
Yeah.
He wasn't great. He wasn't great at all. No.
Right. Well, Hugh Hill, I've heard the name. I didn't have the pleasure to watch him, but I've heard a few people talking about Hugh Hill in the past.
Let's vote for Hugh we've had on the podcast, though. There we go.
Right, there we go. We'll add that then to we'll make it. Do you know what? As with the season goes, we'll make a team of. So Drew is nominated Hugh Hill for our team of Diddies. So we'll put down Hugh Hill. What position did he play, Drew?
I think it was midfield, centre mid.
Centre mid, right, so there we go. Hugh Hill is in the centre mid position, and we'll fill out that team of Diddies as the season goes on. Fantastic.
Just waiting for Ruben Samet to be centre midfield partner.
Brilliant. Right, and obviously you've involved in Falkirk TV now, Drew. How long have you been doing that for?
Just a season. This is season number 2. And basically at the end of the 22-23 season, the club put an email out indicating that Lewis and Stuart were stepping down, and they were looking for a new team to come in. So I sent an email in to Adam and Andrew, offering my services, had a chat with them, and then before I knew it, I was behind the camera.
But is that something you've had an interest in, Drew?
I've done a lot of kind of video and camera stuff throughout the years, just as a hobby more than anything else. Nothing professional. I'd done a couple of podcasts for friends, kind of video and stuff for them, vodcasts. So I had a little bit of experience, but live sports are a completely different ball game altogether. Try to follow, and the amount of times I was sold a dummy by one of the players and went the wrong way with the camera. I mean, quite happened a lot last season.
Yeah, I know, absolutely.
For that.
Yeah, my brother's a cameraman, so he's well versed in that. So it's tough work, but you've done a sterling job, Drew. A sterling job. You, Sean, and Josh as well, doing a cracking job. And you've been on co-coms a couple of times in the last while as well.
Yeah, a couple of times when either Sean or Josh haven't been around, I've been asked to step in and do co-com, so which I actually really enjoy. It's good fun,
Yeah, yeah.
being able to do that kind of thing. So it's yeah, that's a bit of variety to the whole
We're
thing.
we're just waiting for the day where we're invited to do it. I don't think we'll ever be invited to do. Imagine the Falkirk Daft commentary on the game. That's proper shite. That just. I don't think. Well, yeah, I don't think
Can
we'll.
float the idea just to see what the
I don't think that's going to go down.
response is.
We could be like remember when Sky used to do the alternate red button, and it was
Yeah.
like,
Yeah, you can hear the Falkirk Daft commentary. All you'll hear is Ross shouting "push out." You know that one person, Drew. You know the football,
always
right?
one.
There's that person. There's always that person who has the one thing that they shout every football match.
Yeah.
That's Ross, and it has been since I've been going to the games for about 20 odd, longer than that actually. Been going to the game probably. I don't even know how long I've been going to games of football with you, Ross, but. From day dot, he just shouts out, push out. We've had, I think, 3 or 4 on Friday probably. And I've got the push out counter going this season. So, but yeah, please let us know if there's someone sits beside you in the stadium and they say the same thing at every match. Let us know, please. Drop us a DM or do put it on the socials. That'd be great.
Yeah,
John,
could be a good competition for the end of the season there, John. How many push-outs does Ross say in a season?
Yeah.
John, just before we do move on to review the game, obviously I owe Drew an apology for saying that it sounded like Jim Jeffries at the Bucky game. I think it was. I actually quite like the voice of Jim Jeffries, so I took it as I would have taken.
Oh yeah, he's trying to dig himself out a hole now, Drew.
There's most people to be liking to, to be like
go.
Jim Jeffries. I'll take that any day.
There you go. Brilliant. Right, let's get into the game then, boys. It was Falkirk 2, Queen's Park 1. Fantastic start to the season. Calvin Miller, Sean Mackey getting the goals for Falkirk, and Dom Thomas a stunning strike. We'll get into the game. Ross, first of all, got to comment on the fact you were wearing an Ultras t-shirt with your Stone Island at the on Friday night. What age are you, Ross? 42?
No, I'm 43 now.
43 now.
No, listen, I bought that t-shirt last year to put a wee bit extra pennies into their TIFO funds and all this kind of stuff, and it's a cracking t-shirt. So, and I decided to give it an outing. Where was your Ultras t-shirt, John? That's the question that we should be asking. I'm the Donald Trump of this. I'm going to turn it back on you. Where was your?
I just want to see you on that drum, Ross, at some point. So, but yes, yeah. And do you know what? For all I got a pie before the match because I'd had a few drinks, as I stated before. Sampled a few of the Invincible pints up at Behind the Wall. And I went and got a pie. Can I just say, for all the Piegate stuff and all the prices of pie, do you know what's an absolute bonus? Has it always been squeezy bottles? Even last season, was it squeezy bottles on the pie? I think it was sachets. And
Sashes.
yeah, and the squeezy bottle is there now. There's an abundance of squeezy bottles for the ketchup and the brown sauce. And you know what it's like? See, sachets, sauce sachets are the worst, right? Listen, don't get me started. So, see, you can't get, when you've got cold hands in a winter and you're trying to open it and you can't open it, and then you put it in your mouth and you try and do that bite thing, and then all the sauce squirts into your mouth and it's horrible. So, by the way, the 50p extra on the pie is worth it if they're going to keep squeezy bottles in there. So that's what I'm having to say about the pies.
Ever noticed? See, I don't take any sauce. I prefer a dry pie. Oh, that sounds fucking weird.
And there we have this week's episode's title, everyone. Ross Wayne, I prefer a dry pie. It's fine. Some people don't like sauce on their pies, Ross. I prefer sauce. I prefer a well lubricated pie. I have some sauce over the pie. But if you like a dry pie, that's absolutely fine. It's absolutely fine. It's okay.
Oh, I've lost it. There we go.
There we go. The big debate, however, before the game was, where's the flagpole gone, by the way? I was like, because I bumped into Sandy, I was picking up my Ultras book, and it was Sandy Muir. I bumped into him in the club shop, and he said, have we got a flagpole? And I went, I think we do. It used to be in the corner where they used to put all the trucks and the the hot tubs and all that. Was there a flagpole there before? Or have I just made that up?
I can't recall, if I'm being honest, but then
I don't remember seeing one, no.
No, I don't know. See, I know there's been a lot made. See if you move slightly, John. Obviously, for those watching on YouTube, you can see the flagpole that we had on Friday night. I noticed that Dundee United had the same thing today for their flag day. So it's obviously just a weird thing that the SPFL have organised.
This is the SPFL. Basically they're moving the flagpole around the grounds. So this is an SPFL because everyone was complaining that the flag's up and down the ways rather than flying out that way.
Yeah.
So it's just a sponsor thing. It's Wally Hill have obviously given this out, and yeah. So there you go. The flag on Flag Day. It was a mobile flagpole. But does that mean we don't have one? I thought you got it for the whole season. The flag.
You will do. You will do.
Where's the flag? We've not got a flagpole.
Oh, I'm sure they might get one. Graham Carbis will get one sponsored.
That's it. Sponsor the flagpole. Get the writing up the side of the flagpole. There you go.
That's maybe where the money for qualifying for the next round of the League Cup's going.
That's true. We're buying a flagpole, everyone. But there you go. I don't know whereabouts do you buy a flagpole from. I mean, it's a strange item to I'm going down there's no such flagpoles or us, flagpoles.com or something like that. Anyway, I digress. The flag got raised and it was a lovely moment. Obviously, Gordon Wright's brother and his widow putting up the flag, and we remembered Gordon once again. And it was a lovely, the Ultras, fair play, had a flag for Gordon and Forever Falkirk, so it was a really nice moment for his family. And he's such a, we've talked about him at length in the podcast, such a great guy and just a sad miss at the club. So that was a really, really nice touch, I thought. But yeah.
It really was. Yeah, no, it was a lovely touch. And as you say, the banners that they had and the flag that they had as well. Drew, I think from the highlights, you guys had kind of managed to get a good picture of it and stuff as well. So no, just really, really nice touch from everybody, including the Ultras there.
Yeah. Unchanged side on the park. It was good to see actually as well, pre-match as well, Stephen McGinn was at the game, along with just about every Championship manager was at the game as well. From what I could see at the back of the stands, from what I heard from the back of the stands, I think just about every Championship manager was at the game as well to check us out. And hopefully they were a bit surprised at what we could offer. But it was good to see Captain Invincible himself, Stephen McGinn, at the game and getting interviewed for the BBC as well before it. We've talked about on the podcast the influence that he had behind the scenes. Drew, you probably know a bit more about this, working on the television side of last season, how big an influence that Stephen had at the club.
It was absolutely huge, absolutely huge. One of the real privileges from last season was being able to travel on the team bus to some of the away games, the further away ones, and there was obviously stuff going on in the bus, a bit of mucking about going on. Stephen was always the one that would kind of, all right boys, let's calm it down a wee bit, and he would kind of bring them all in line when things were getting slightly out of hand at times. But he was really well respected by every single player in that dressing room. They really looked up to him, and just a really wise guy, loads of wisdom from his experience over the years. But a real nice guy as well. Pleasure to get to meet him last year.
No, absolutely. Unchanged side, Ross. No surprises really.
No, the only change I thought may happen if he was fit was Nesbitt coming back into the side, but obviously he's not been fully fit to even have a place on the bench. But really, no issues with the same starting lineup. Gary Oliver had done really well in that role as well, and had another good game for the time that he was on the park on Friday night as well.
I think it's quite nice to see as well the young boys on the bench. When you see like Walker and McCrone and stuff being used on the bench, I guess that goes to show that we are slightly on numbers, but at the same time, will these guys, do you think, get a chance? Just say we are winning 2-3-0 in a game. Do you think you can see these guys coming off the bench and maybe getting a wee run out now and again, Drew?
Yes, I think John's very much keen to do that. But like you say, when the opportunity arises, he obviously did it at Bucky. When we were, I think by the time we were 4-1 up, he threw on one of the younger boys and gave him 10 minutes, and he did really well when he came on. But I think he's looking to try and get them in and get them as much experience at that level as they possibly can, which it'll be absolutely invaluable to them and future people for the club as well.
Yeah, surprisingly, I don't know what's happening with the Scott Honeyman. Didn't see his name. I don't know if he's injured or if they're maybe just looking to put him back out on loan again. Because he obviously showed up really, really well, hasn't he, last season when he went out on loan at the Shire?
I think he's injured.
Is he injured?
Yeah.
Right. That's it. That explains that then. But yeah, no, it is good to see that. But the bench, as you would expect it, because we haven't got the numbers, as Jamie said, we probably want 22, but we've got a squad of 20 at the moment. But yeah, so after, we're out the blocks, just as you would expect Falkirk to do. Dylan Tate almost scoring in the first minute.
He wasn't far away at all when you watch it back too. No, he wasn't far away at all. What a start that would have been. Like, can you imagine if we got that early goal? Obviously, we won anyway, but I think we would have went on and scored a barrel load if we'd scored that early yesterday, because the confidence just would have shot right through the team.
Yeah, I mean, as well, it would have drawn Queen's Park out, whereas we saw in that first 20 minutes, they were quite happy to sit and knock the ball around, but had they been 1-0 down within the first minute.
I mean, we're very, as you say, we've not missed a beat from last season, it appears, and we were that first half certainly right at it, right at them, few chances for Rudden, where you slightly got worried, but didn't really have his shooting boots on, Mr. Rudden, at the weekend. I thought getting played in a very strange position for Queens. I don't know if they were playing, looking at the BBC and looking at the match, like Dom Thomas, who we pointed out as a danger man, and we'll talk about his goal in a bit, but it seemed to be him and Rudden up front, but Rudden seemed to get pulled out wide, where I think when we saw Rudden at Falkirk, he was right through the middle, so I found that really, really strange.
Yeah, I don't know why they've done that. They've also gone with a kind of 3-5-2 formation to try and swamp that midfield. But yeah, it didn't seem like Thomas and Rudden at times we knew where each other were or where they were meant to be going, and it kind of lost a bit of momentum.
Do you know the big thing for me from Friday night, and I know it's just one game in isolation, but there's obviously been a lot of chat about strikers and stuff that we need, either as competition or backup or whatever we want to call it. I would not have Zach Rudden ahead of Ross McKeever in terms of what he does for the team. I didn't see Zach Rudden doing much on Friday night, and he was really wasteful when he had a chance as well.
Yeah, certainly in that performance. We'll talk about McKeever in a bit as well. But yeah, we had our chances, in that first half. We had the shot from Morrison, which kind of, it was a weird, it took a deflection and could have went in. Then we had that chance from Calvin Miller, where I've no idea where Cammy Kerr came from. Like, people were out their seats and cheering because they thought it was going in, and Cammy Kerr was like a ninja and just popped out from nowhere and cleared the ball off the line, and it looked like it was going in by a mile.
Yeah, I watched it back in the highlights quite a few times. I was like you guys, I was ready to punch the air and give it a beauty. We're 1-0 up, but as the ball gets to Miller, it's almost like Cammy Kerr's on the edge of the box, but he just runs towards there, and obviously timing is everything. Got to clear it off the line.
Miller thought it was in as well, because he almost, you see him in the highlights, he almost turns to go and celebrate, but then he thinks, I better double check it's in first. And as you said, out of nowhere, Cammy Kerr comes. And I my first thought was I'd hit the post, because I didn't see a defender on the line. And as you said, John, he's just absolutely sprinted himself from the edge of the box onto the line.
I know. It was an unbelievable clearance, but didn't have long to wait to the goal, and that came from not a pretty football, but big call. Just looked for a ball in over the top, and the defender completely missed it. Ross came in, you think get the laces through it, Ross, but he went for a kind of wee chip, which looked, I have to say, it looked like it was going wide until Callum Ferry put his hands on it, fell to Calvin Miller, and he hits it, makes no mistake this time. Your boy, who they've got from Inverness, tries to clear it off the line and knocks it into his own net. Was it an own goal, or was it Calvin Miller's goal, though?
I'm saying own goal.
I thought of it. Looking back at the BBC angles, it looked like it might have been going wide.
Yeah, I think from the main BBC angle and from Falkirk TV's highlights, it looks as if it's Calvin's goal. But when you see the angle from, I think they've got a camera just behind the goals potentially, and you can, I think it was probably going wide. But do you know, Calvin did the right thing. He hit it low and hard. How many times do we talk about players just hitting it low and hard across the box, and you never know what will happen? That's what happens, and it went in.
Yeah, no, brilliant, absolutely brilliant. The only thing we had to worry about there was a Dom Thomas free kick just before half time. He again proven that he's one of the best players in this league. I think again, and on Friday, and we saw that as we came out the second half, and within 30 seconds, what a goal from him, to be fair. No one's saving that.
No, it was beautiful execution. We obviously saw it from our side of the pitch, but again, watching back at the BBC and seeing it from behind, it was as soon as left his boot, Nicky Hogarth's got absolutely no chance getting near that one.
No, Ross didn't like. I mean, did you put? I think it was maybe Sean Mackey maybe didn't close him down.
Yeah, there's a couple of ads. Yeah, I think there's a couple of players who if we had have closed them down, he wouldn't have got the shot off. But then it's all if buts and maybes. It was a tremendous finish, and I don't think Nicky Hogarth had much of a chance to it. Like, it's not as if Nicky was like way off his line either. The guy put it.
Nicky was positioned really, really well, and you know the only complaint you'd have and would be Sean Mackey maybe just coming out and trying to. Because he stood all off him, but you don't expect someone to strike it from that distance at that angle and it goes straight in the top bin. So
the curve on it was phenomenal as well. So fair play. But obviously,
you think, that knocked the wind out our sails a wee bit, and it didn't, because we basically just went up the park and scored, which was amazing. And we saw that so many times last season when. You know, we maybe a team pegged us back, and then we just kind of went, "Oh, right, we'll go up and score now." And it happened so many times last season. It was great to see that that's continued in the Championship as well.
It was good. The other thing I really liked about when the goal went in, the ultras were obviously still singing away after half time, but as the goal went in, they didn't stop. They just kept going and kept going and kept going. I think that really gave the lift that the boys needed to keep going.
Yeah, and it was the goal machine, as John McGlynn described him as Sean Mackey getting his first league goal, second goal for the club. Big Sean, Ross, what do you make of him at left back?
It's his shirt to lose, if I'm being honest, John. I think John McGlynn said something not too dissimilar to the Falkirk Herald last week, where he was like, listen, Leon's had the vast majority of games over Sean. Sean's had injuries. However, he's now staked the shirt. It's his to lose. So unless he has an absolute shocker or gets injured, and I like Leon, I really do. We've talked about him so much, like he's been like the most consistent player the last 2 years. But on the form that Sean's in, both defensively and now offensively, he's had 2 goals in 3 weeks. He's a nuisance in the box as well. You can't drop him. You can't. So no, for me, he more than made up for. If he was in any way part to blame for the equaliser, he more than made up for it by doing what he did.
He does love to jump in, though, Sean Mackey. He does love a tackle, and he does love to jump in. But do you know what? So do I, and I'm here for it. We saw that a moment there when he kind of lost the ball, and he won it clearly, and then the referee gave a foul to Queen's Park, which was unbelievable. And then John McGlynn ended up getting booked because he was saying everything that the fans were saying was like, what was that for?
I know Drew might not be able to say it in his capacity with the club, but the ref was a fucking idiot on Friday night, wasn't he? I'm not being funny, but every single thing that Queen's Park did, he just looked at it.
There was that foul with Morrison. I've seen a picture of it. It was Thomas and Morrison, I think. And the referee's giving it to them, and like that's what was the free kick at the end of the first half, and you're just like, what the I mean, like
this guy's got previous. Do you remember? Did they not ref a game recently as well?
Kelty. It was Kelty, the Kelty game, and he was terrible at that. And I actually saw that it was the 4th official at the Rangers Hearts game yesterday as well. Unfortunately, he shares the name with our club photographer Ian Snedden. So when everyone's saying, Ian Snedden, you're a wanker. Poor Ian Snedden, the photographer, must have been have a bit of a complex there on Friday. Jesus, man, he was terrible, awful.
It's almost as if he'd forgotten the football's a contact game.
Yeah, it was
slightest bit of contact.
He kind of started the game all right, but it just got worse and worse and worse, and kind of lost the game a wee bit for me. But luckily, it didn't affect
Booking John
us.
McGlynn, John, as well. What, like, he
Aye.
booked John McGlynn for absolutely nothing.
Aye,
as well.
He
no,
was simply asking why.
He did. All he did was dare to open his mouth and ask a question.
Yeah.
Like, the referees need to have, and see when you think back to, and I know it was a charity game, but if you think back to the Grade 1 referee who we had for the charity game in June, right? As much as it was all a bit of a laugh and we're raising money and stuff, he talked to you. And I'm sure that ref did that throughout his career. You talk to people. That's how you get the respect. See these guys who just like, no, it's my decision. Don't want to talk to you. Move on. Like, they must be police or security guards.
hello to all the police officers listening to that. I've got nothing to do with those comments. I would just like to say right now, those are the comments of Ross Wayne and not John McAnally or Falkirk Daft for that matter. So just saying, I have all respect to you, police officers. That was Ross Wayne. Continue, Ross.
You're such a sick, aren't you? You're such a sick. Yeah, I forgot where I was going. But no, listen, he was...
I believe you were referring to the referee being a bit like a police officer.
Or security guard. I didn't say or.
Or a security guard, sorry. Apologies to G4.
As Drew said, he lost his way. And he lost probably any whatever respect the players and management had for him as the game went on. And, just atrocious.
Yeah. Let's talk about Ross McKeever's could have been goal of the season already. In fact, it might be save of the season from Callum Ferry. Now, we were talking obviously amongst us in the stands that, in fact, it was you, Ross, that turned to me and said, the goalkeeper's a bit small, isn't he? And I had to point out this was the championship goalie of the season last year, and he might not have the height, but by God, he has the shot stopping. Drew, you must have been in that commentary box going, that's in. And
yeah, it was. I mean, the build up as well. The fact that McKeever had chased the ball down, got it, his footwork to get by the Queen's Park player was phenomenal, and then the shot itself was just perfectly struck. But yeah, what a save! What an absolute gem of a save!
Everything about it was great football to watch. And let's talk about Ross McKeever on Friday. You know, we said that it was maybe a position that we could strengthen, but Ross was unbelievable on Friday. He won everything. And like you say, that obviously what resulted in the save from Callum Ferry, everything he did in that, winning the ball back, the little drag forward to get past the man, and then the strike itself, absolutely phenomenal. And then, like you were saying, Ross, you know, we probably, I still maintain that we need maybe competition for him. In that
competition for cover, because if he gets injured,
Shanley's not, or Oliver's not the answer in that position.
Well, you've got Shanley, Oliver, Aggie Man could maybe. There's players there, but would they be as effective as Ross McKeever? And I don't think we have that answer there now. But Ross has not had a bad. I can't remember when he last had a bad game.
His heading the amount of headers he wins is unbelievable. You saw it again on Friday. He just hangs in that air so well. It's like it's flying. It's like an absolute skill. And I did hear I listened to the Terrace's Lower League podcast. If you are listening to 7 hours long, but if you go to 52 minutes, that's when they talk about Falkirk. But Craig Telfer, I laughed at the time, but I'm not laughing so much now when I now start thinking about it. He compared Ross McKeever to Olivier Giroud. And the more and more I think, I thought at the time, what a ridiculous comparison. But the more and more I think about it, apart from he's probably not as good looking as Olivier Giroud, but he has a similar kind of style and a similar way about him. And I'm now he's, for me, he's Ross Giroud.
I think you've done about this service. I think he's better looking than Olivier Giroud. Do you know what I think?
Oh no, Giroud's a good looking fella. Like,
I think he's got a Ross McKeever poster on his wall. That's what I think. No, he was everywhere. And taking the shot aside, which, as you said, like for me, I know it's not winning, so we can't say it's like for like, but for me, that would even top like Callum's goal against Montrose.
I would have, yeah, I would definitely would have.
But he was everywhere, and yeah, he just if he wasn't there, I just don't think Calvin and Callum would be as effective.
Yeah. And the fact John kept him on for the whole game as well, because he usually takes him off at 75 minutes. But he obviously could see the trouble he was making and the contribution he was making throughout the game, and just thought, by putting somebody else on in that position, we're not going to get that.
Yeah.
And we needed him up there to be a nuisance for the defenders.
Yeah. Another player I think it's worth mentioning as well is Nicky Hogarth. I thought his distribution was excellent on Friday. I thought his distribution and his shot stopping, had that save from Rudd, I think it was Thomas, and then Rudden tried to get on it and he pounced upon it. Yeah. And then he had that save at the near post from, I can't remember what Queen's Park player it was, but it was, yeah, good save. You know, I thought he looked really comfortable, and I think he will establish himself as the number one. There was chat at the start that he won't be Sned and won't be Hogarth. I think he's in a similar position to Mackie, that it'll be his jersey to lose now, and I thought he was really good on Friday as well.
Yeah, looked really confident actually. You know, we've seen him in a couple of games last season where he looked a bit unsure to go for balls or not, but he's looking like he's getting a bit more of command of his area now, and showing that confidence in his own ability, which is good to see.
A few subs coming on. We just the usuals. Ethan Ross showed up well when he came on, had that run, got a couple of bounces, and then another shot cleared off the line. My criticism was we started going deeper and deeper. I don't know if it was just a leg thing, because I think we could immediately, you could see the intensity and the energy in comparison to League One on Friday. I don't know what you guys thought, but I thought you can tell you're a level up.
You can. There was a different feel to Friday night, because had you been playing a League One team on Friday night, with the exception of Aki's from last year, the way we were playing, the way we were controlling the game, we would have probably scored another 2 or 3 goals, and that would have been it. However, it was tight and tense for the 94 minutes.
This is I guess the difference between playing full-time teams, which every team in the league is a full-time team. So this is the difference, that everybody, like you say, Ross, in games we probably would have went on and scored a couple in that match, and we could have. I mean, we talked about Ethan Ross's chance. There was another couple of chances in there. We kind of restricted them, but there was always that kind of feeling that they could break and up the pitch, especially when we started coming deeper and deeper and deeper. We had the subs again make a difference. I think Alfie and Ethan Ross coming off the bench always stretch when the games like that. Certainly Alfie stretches that game,
He does. He really does, and it's a worry for teams. I think when they see Calvin Miller or Carl Morrison going off, they're probably going, right, thank God, that's good. But actually, you've then got Ethan Ross and Alfie Agyeman coming on, who are no slouches. If anything, they're as fast, if not faster, than the 2 boys that just went off, and they're a nuisance of themselves. I think that is one of our massive strengths, is the strength from the bench that's able to come on.
Yeah, and there was slightly when he talking about subs. Obviously, Cole Donaldson had to come off the park. Worry at the time that it might be his groin. As I spoke to his dad actually on the way back up the road, because he was in the behind the wall supporters bus. So I was chatting to Cole's dad, because we met him at the Falkirk Daft Live event, and he was messaging him trying to get what it was, but we found out it was just cramp from John McGowan afterwards, which was good to hear, because his dad's worry was if it was his groin, that's a worry, because that's certainly what he seemed to be pointing to. But luckily it's just cramp, so hopefully he's fit for the trip to East End on Saturday, because I don't know about Sean Rash Mackey in the middle of that defence at East End would be slightly more concerning to me. So hopefully Captain Cole is back at centre half for that game. But it's good to see. But 2-1, I think we were worth it, boys.
Definitely. I didn't feel we were overran at any point in the game. I think we controlled it. I think it's a really, really positive start, and kind of laid a marker down for everybody else.
Yeah, that's my thoughts as well. Yeah, laid a marker down. Yeah.
Absolutely. Let's hear what John McGlynn had to say after the game.
John, first game, first 3 points. You must be delighted with how the team played out there.
Yeah, I am really delighted. Yeah, I thought for the first minute we took the game to Queen's. Dylan Tate's got a chance in the first minute. It could have put us ahead. Gary did really well to win the ball back for us, and Dylan was in and goal. just didn't quite catch his shot, you know. And we had a few opportunities early in the game, but out of nowhere, Dom Thomas is a really, really good shot that Nicky's made a good save, and he's got up and he's pounced on the ball that's come off him. It's a really good save, and important save at 0-0. You know, fine margins in the games, that could easily have gone in, but Nicky made a really, really good save, and it was a little bit of warning for us, but good. I'm delighted that Calvin got the goal. Delighted if anyone had got the goal, to be honest with you. But Big Ross played a big part in it. He's rolled the defender. He's so good at that. He's so good winning headers for us. But in that occasion, rolling defender, he's got a shot early. Don't know if the goal was expecting it. It's kind of like out, and he's trying to get back, and then he makes a save, which the ball lands for Calvin. But Calvin's got to be there. You know, he's got to be there, or he's not getting on the end of that. And even at that, I've seen that miss, that type of chance miss. So, you know, delighted. And I think Withell deserved to be going in 1-0 at half time. We didn't have a lead much long in the second half, 30 seconds, and it was one each. Kick-off wasn't great, to be honest. Kick-off wasn't great for us, and they broke up the park, and Don Thomas has come in for the right on his left foot and stuck it in the top corner, which he's very capable of doing. We know that. So a great response from our guys. Great response, amazing response for the kick-off. Sean Mackey's right down that left-hand side, ball in the box. We got a corner, and in a second phases from the corner kick, Sean's in the middle of the goal to stick it away. So 2 goals in 3 games for Sean, a goal machine now. So it's a winning goal, the winning goal. So it's always important, really, really important. And the character of the team then maybe at times had to dig in later on. We didn't give up too many opportunities. There was one really late. Nicky's made a save at his near post. So great for that, you know. But as a whole team, with and without the ball, I thought we were really good. Amazing support here tonight, you know. Great atmosphere, you know. The young team helped us through. You know, we had to dig in a little bit, and it's a whole lot of us, the whole lot. We're all in this together. Fans, players, you know, everyone. We're all in this together, and so, you know, a big thank you to them. We needed that support to get us over that line. The guys dug in for them, and they dug in for us, and that's how it's going to be.
So, John, pretty happy about it seems to be. Have you had the pleasure of having to chat to him yet, Drew, for a post-match interview?
No.
Do you just leave it to Adam now?
Yeah, I've managed to avoid that so far.
Because he'll keep you there till the lights go off. We just have to ask him one question, as we always say.
Yeah, Adam's usually got 3 or 4 ready, but by the time you answer the first question, so John, what do you think of the game? All questions answered. Thank you very much. See you later.
Exactly. So no, John seemed relatively happy with that, which you could see. Callum Davis actually came out after the game as well. Said, we conceded a poor goal, asked for a reaction at half time. They did get one, which they did. Conceded a goal straight away. It's something really frustrating as a manager. We can do better than that. What do we think about Queen's Park's chances? Do you think they'll be down fighting at the bottom end or the top end? Obviously, they had a run a couple of seasons ago on their own coil. What do you think?
Davis is a good manager. You know, he's proven himself at St Johnstone, and I think once he gets them going the way he wants them to be playing, they could be one of those teams that will have the potential to beat anyone in the league. And I don't think they'll be up near the playoffs, but they could be the one that actually have a say in who gets into the playoffs at the end of the season.
Yeah. I agree, Drew. I think they'll take points off teams. It'll be interesting to see how obviously they get on at this new stadium. Lesser Hamden in terms of the league games there, but yeah, I think they'll take points off. I think if they've got intentions of winning the league, they're probably about 4 or 5 players short of that. But I think they will. Personally, I think they'll be 7th or 8th. That would be my gut feel in terms of the league.
Let's get your thoughts on the game. Starting with Craig, he says, great start and brilliant atmosphere. Thought McKeever was man of the match, but the whole team played their part. Let the good times roll.
Love that. Croft says, McKeever was superb. So much of our attacking play is based around him. Tate and Spencer ran things for large spells. They worked well as a pair. Special word, though, from Sean Mackey. I think many thought he was done after most of last year on the bench, but he started the season so well.
That he has, but Jack counteracts that with 145 days until Christmas. All I want from Santa is for Sean Mackey to get a right foot. he is very, very left-footed. That's one thing for sure.
Westy says, brilliant to get off to a winning start. Thought we were a tad wasteful with chances missed in the first half, and we were punished right at the beginning of the second for that, but that's championship football. The character and resilience to get a goal instantly shows why we went unbeaten. Here.
Pamela says, out fucking standard. Pamela Gilchrist, wash your mouth out with soap, for goodness sake. She says, out fucking standing, toss up between Spencer and McKeever for man of the match, no failures again. Fighting determination is just standing out and comes with constant backing from stands. Can't believe Ian Snedden is worse than last season. That's Ian Snedden, the referee, and not the photographer. We'll just keep clarifying that. Absolute Falkirk dafty for Pamela.
There it is. Yeah, I think it might be a lot of people's. Dougie says, what has happened to McKeever? He's raised his game to a whole new level, never lost the ball in the air tonight, and if that shot that in the second half had went in, then you already had your goal of the season contender. Man of the match for me.
Yeah, we'll get to that in a minute. Raymond says, two teams playing football the way it's supposed to be played, and actually it was, for the neutral, it was a decent game of football that to watch, I would suspect. We were brilliant and should have scored more goals. Brad Spencer, easily man of the match for me. Great start.
Yeah, Brad was fantastic.
Yeah.
Charlie says, thought we played really well and it was unfortunate it wasn't by a lot more. Extremely delighted with the response to the equaliser, and it's a sign of our character.
Graham says, good performance tonight, and we don't look like we're benefiting from having a big player turnover from last year. Don't want to get ahead of myself, but we're definitely going invincible again and winning the league. All right, Graham.
Last couple, we've got Jack here says, just simply, we are back, baby. And we'll give the last comment to the Spiders Talk podcast who we had on last week, who just said, shite.
There you go. Right. Cal Morrison got the BBC's man of the match. The sponsors man of the match was Dylan Tate, from what I can remember, wasn't it? Yeah.
I thought it was Brad Spencer, was it?
Oh, was it Brad? Was it Brad? It was Dylan Tate.
Dylan
So, are we going to have a Falkirk Daft rated? Is it going to be a different choice from one of those two, Ross Wayne?
Yes, Ross McKeever. That's my man.
Yeah, I toss up between Mackie and McKeever, but I'm going for McKeever.
It was Spencer and McKeever for me, but I'll go with you boys. I thought McKeever, we're giving him Ross Giroux, had a very, very good game. So yeah, well done, Ross Giroux. Falkirk Daft, and we're going to note these all down this season as well, Ross. So it makes our Falkirk Daft rated player of the season a bit easier to do when we come to the voting. So Ross McKeever, 1 vote for him already from that.
It's a bit like, remember when the Falkirk Herald used to have their Herald?
It's exactly like the Falkirk Herald. That's what I'm basing it on. So Ross McKeever is down for us. What was it? The star rate? Was it the star shot?
Something like that. Star
shot. I think it was. Or something like that. There you go. But Ross McKeever is Falkirk Daft rated. Falkirk Dafty.
It's hard to look past the ref.
Ian Snedden. Yeah. Times 3, unless anybody else wants to change.
Well,
and it's not, again, Ian, we love your photographs, it's not you.
I was thinking about whoever pulled the plug in the BBC feed, but I don't know who that was.
Yeah, there must be a Pars fan to be.
I said that sounds something like I would do, like I did last week, taking a whole radio station off air. So I've got absolute sympathy for that guy, because we've all been there, mate. We've all been there. Maybe not. But yeah, Ian Snedden. We'll just say Ian Snedden. Yeah.
Yep.
All round. Drew, thank you so much for coming on. Really appreciate it, and great to see you doing your stuff and hearing your dulcet tones on the Falkirk TV as well. So thanks so much for coming on. And if you want to come on and be a guest pundit this season, and if you've been on before and you want to come on again, we'd love to have you back on. It means we'll like you. So drop us a DM. Please do that. pundit@falkirkdaft.co.uk on the email, or just slide into our DMs like you would a hot girl or a hot boy. DMs on Twitter or Facebook or Instagram, but I don't really use that, so Ross will get you on that. So yeah, do that and you could be a Falkirk Daft pundit this season.
This is Falkirk Daft.
With Behind the Wall, we're navy blue. Are you?
Haldane Construction are back on the podcast. Yes! Good to hear from Peter and the team over at Haldane Construction. You know they've been delivering construction and building projects throughout the Central Belt for 2 decades. And you know what else they do? They build extensions, new builds, all the way through to commercial swimming pools. So if you're one of those people that has a swimming pool in the Falkirk area, it's more than likely that Haldane Construction sorted that out for you. I know I keep going about the swimming pool thing. Listen, they are big supporters of the club. Peter jumped on the club. You'll see their sign on the Legends stand on the north side. They're big supporters of the club, Peter and his team there. And if you want to get involved with them, check out their website, haldaneconstruction.co.uk. And you'll get them. They've got a trusted team, qualified employees. They've won all sorts of awards. And you know what the best thing about Haldane? They'll manage, they'll design, they'll budget any project you've got, and because they're just great. They're just great, and they've got a constant line of communication open to their clients as well. So anything you need or not satisfied with, Peter and the team will sort out for you. So Haldane Construction, get on them now, and they're doing an amazing thing for our favourite charity on Falkirk Daft, that's Strathcarron Hospice. They're going to be abseiling down the Falkirk Wheel. Fancy it, Ross?
No, not at all.
No, you're not a heights guy?
Not a heights guy, no.
Right,
no, 100%.
Well, basically, you can be a Strathcarron Hospice hero. Peter and the team, they're doing it, right? But you can now also register a team, right? They're sponsoring it, Haldane Construction. So get registered now. It's £25, which includes a Strathcarron Hospice t-shirt. Standard registration is £30 per person, but if you get early bird registration, it's £25. And you can do that now. We're going to put the links below. So if you fancy raising money for Strathcarron Hospice, you've got to get a minimum sponsorship at £250, which will basically, that'll pay for 8 hours of nursing care. And we know how important that place is to this community, to this town. We've all had a relative or all know someone that's used Strathcarron Hospice. It's an amazing facility and it needs its funding, which comes from you guys. So if you will fancy a bit of daredevil, imagine being able to go over and say, I abseiled down the Falkirk Wheel. That'd be amazing. Absolutely amazing. So get involved. I'm going to try and convince Ross. We'll get a Falkirk Daft team. We'll do this. We can do this.
I'll support you from the bottom.
Right, okay. But yeah, minimum sponsorship is £250. And like I say, that pay for 8 hours of nursing care. Links are in the bio, so get involved. And thanks to Haldane Construction, they are sponsoring the whole thing. And it's all the money is going to go into patient care. So get involved. The Falkirk Wheel Abseil. It's not until 2025, Ross. So we've got a wee bit of time to get your nerves in check. But that's going to be happening at the Falkirk Wheel. Get involved right now. Check out the links below, and it's all thanks to Haldane Construction.
This is Falkirk Daft.
With Behind the Wall. Stay local, eat and drink global.
Every week on Falkirk Daft, we look ahead to the game that's coming, and it's the big one. It's the fixture we all look out for when those lists are printed. It is Falkirk versus Dunfermline at East End Park this Saturday, the big derby. And against my better judgment, I've invited a man on who I work alongside on the Big Scottish Footbal Podcast. He does the big Saturday football show on 4th One and across Scotland, and you'll know him from the radio with Gary Spence on the drive time if you listen to 4th Clyde or any other radio station. It is Dunfermline's biggest fan. I would say you're the biggest celebrity fan that Dunfermline have got, maybe Stephen, apart from I don't know, but yeah, it's Steven Mill, everyone. Who's a celebrity supporter of Dunfermline? The boy from Big Country.
Yeah, I mean, it's Stuart Adamson, but I mean, he's been dead for about 25
years.
Yeah,
Richard Jobson supports Dunfermline, does he not?
Yeah, I mean, Richard Jobson, the boys from Nazareth are all Dunfermline fans. Barbara Dixon.
Barbara Dixon, a Dunfermline supporter, did not know that.
No, she's from Dunfermline, so we're quite
right.
But yeah, I mean, listen, in terms of celebrity supporter, if you're classing me as one of the biggest ones, then it's a fairly fucking low bar. Let's be honest.
So, I know, we've got.
Because John's ours, so
yeah, we've got young Sheldon. We've got young Sheldon, so that's about as good as it gets for us. Stephen, thanks for coming on, mate. I really appreciate the time. Right, let's start with Dunfermline, and it's not been a great start to the season. I know you say the League Cup's just glorified friendlies, but obviously it's got to the point that people, you've seen managers getting sacked for the League Cup run, as we've just seen potentially Ian Murray go to Wraith Rovers because of the run they had in the League Cup. What have you made of the campaign so far?
I mean, it's obviously been absolutely appalling so far. I mean, our group in the League Cup was, you couldn't have handpicked a better group. We had Livingston obviously relegated from the Premiership, so it was 2 Championship teams, us and Livingston. Then we had Cove Rangers, and then 2 League Two teams in Spartans and Forfar, and we somehow managed not to even finish second in the group. We finished second bottom. So yeah, I mean, what? I'm not going to sugarcoat it because it has been terrible, and even the second half yesterday against Livingston was really poor as well. Our squad looks really thin. We've got lots of problems. But what I would say, just to counter that, we absolutely cruised through in the League Cup when Peter Grant was our manager, and we won our group. With ease, and then obviously we didn't win a league game, or he didn't win a league game until he got sacked. So I'd be hesitant to read too much into it. However, there are big problems with this Dunfermline side. I think it's a sort of combination of, we have got a few players tied down to long-term contracts who probably we could have and should have moved on in the summer, but they're under contract. Nobody's going to pay for them, and we're not going to pay them off. So we're a wee bit stuck with them. So I think a lot of people were expecting big changes in the summer, but the reality was we had 15 or 16 signed players already. So we were only ever going to bring in another 2 or 3, and then the model that the owners want to use going forward is promoting a lot of our youth players. And to be fair, our youth team won the Reserve League Cup last season, so there's obviously some decent players in there. The boy Taylor Sutherland up front, he's only 18 years old. He looks like he's going to be a better player, but again, he's 18 years old. So it's a lot to ask, just putting a lot of pressure on that young shoulders that he's got. So I guess the good news is for this weekend, Chris Kane's going to be back.
Is he? I noticed he wasn't on the bench yesterday.
Yeah. So I don't know if it was whether it was a plastic pitch issue. I honestly don't know. He hasn't played a lot in the League Cup. I think he's played like 45 minutes or something, and then maybe played in a friendly. So he's not got a lot of football, but Chris Kane's a decent player, and he will make a difference if he's playing at the weekend. However, I think there's a few issues with the way that the team's set up, I think, as well. Benedictus has obviously been a cracking player for a few years now at this level anyway. But I don't know, he was out injured for a lot of last season, and I think he's maybe just lost a wee half-yardly pace, and I think McPake knows that. And we seem to be persisting with playing 3 at the back, which, more often than not turns into 5 at the back. And then if you're playing with 2 holding midfielders with Hamilton and O2, then all of a sudden you've got 7 players in your team who are, or 7 outfield players in your team who are only interested really in defending. And that's a lot to ask. 3 players for your only attacking threat, really. And we're struggling. We are struggling. It's a big couple of weeks for James McPake, because obviously we've got the big derby against Hughes, and then we've got the wee derby after that against Wraith Rovers. So it's a big couple of weeks, and you've been there as Falkirk fans, we've been there as Dunfermline fans in the past before. I feel like the fan base is very much teetering on the brink of it becoming a not very nice place, and obviously yous are coming off the back of a victory on Friday night. So Saturday could be interesting if yous end up with all 3 points, but yous have beaten us twice in 7 years, I was reading earlier on. So it's you're not coming into it like as if you're our whipping boys or anything like that, especially after the year in League One, where obviously you didn't beat us at all. So we'll see what happens. And I've said to you, John, and fair enough, he's won on Friday night against Queen's Park, who I don't think are that great, but over the course of the season, I think that you'll find out that the Championship isn't as straightforward as Friday night might suggest.
Stephen, was your prediction on the other podcast not that we wouldn't win a single game? Was that not what I heard last week?
No. That wasn't a prediction. That was a hope. That was a hope. I was hoping that you would do the opposite for last season and not win a game. But obviously, you've screwed that for me already. It wasn't a prediction. I didn't say that you would probably win some games. I just think that I was a wee bit tongue in cheek when I was saying I thought Falkirk would finish bottom. I don't genuinely believe that Falkirk will finish bottom. I think you'll be fine. I actually do think we'll be fine in the end as well. But I don't think either of us are going to be bothering the playoffs, or certainly not the title race anyway.
Yeah, we've budgeted for fifth, and I've went on record with so many supporters saying I'll be happy with fifth. See if we re-establish ourselves in the championship and get that fifth. Like Dunfermline, I think it was 6 you guys finished last season, was it?
Yeah. Christ knows. I just wrote off the set. It was so bad for so much. I was just happy that we didn't get dragged into any of the relegation stuff. But, it's interesting. We see these other teams in the championship. Wraith Rovers spending a lot of money, although Wraith Rovers fans, I would doubt that. I'm sure they're beginning to panic at the thought of how much money they've spent on certain players who are maybe a wee bit older, and they've dished out 2 and 3 year contracts to them. And I think that's probably why they've punted Ian Murray already, because I think if you read their statement, there's certainly a lot of panic in that. I think they've probably bet the house on going up this season. So if they don't, there might be a few issues. Ayr United have signed 12 or 13 players. Ayr United outbid Dunfermline for players, and there's not a reality where that should be happening, I'm afraid. We've sold, I think, just under 4,000 season tickets for this season, and it was an increased price from last season as well. So, there should be money there. Plus, I think hospitality's pretty much sold out for the entire season already. I think that there shouldn't be a world where Ayr United, Wraith Rovers, and even Partick Thistle to a certain extent are outbidding Dunfermline on players. And I think that might be a problem for a lot of the Falkirk support next season as well, because just like Dunfermline, Falkirk are a decent sized club. Lots of season ticket holders.
Stepped away from saying big club there. I noticed that.
I was going to say a big club, but it's slightly smaller than Dunfermline. But obviously, you've got a good support, sell a lot of season tickets, and then you'll be looking around and seeing these other smaller teams going, well, why are they outbidding us for players? And I think that's you are probably a couple of years behind us. And I think the Falkirk fans maybe next season, because I do think you'll stay up, you'll be fine. But then the expectation among the fans next season is, well, we should kick on and try and win the league. And I think that if we're still in a situation next season where you've got teams like Wraith Rovers, I mean, obviously somebody's going to get promoted, but, if you've got a Wraith Rovers or Ayr United and they're still spending way more money than Falkirk or Dunfermline, fans will that's hard to square in their minds, I think. And I think we find ourselves in that position. There's a lot of unrest in the support at this moment in time.
I guess the difference between us, between you guys and us, is that we're obviously now down the fan ownership path, but you guys have the Germans bankrolling you. Where's the Deutschmarks, Stephen? Where's the money coming? They seem to be a bit tight, the Germans.
So you're showing your age a wee bit here, John, with Deutschmark. But I don't know if you've heard about the Euro. I don't know if news has made it to Falkirk yet about that. But so yeah, I mean, I think there's been a lot of money spent on the training ground. So there's a brand new training ground being built at the Scythe, which they're claiming will be pretty state of the art when it comes to, or certainly at our level, state of the art. So we'll see what happens over the next wee while with that. I think a lot of money's been invested in that. Also, I think the fact that we got relegated back to League One, I think that took a big chunk out of their money that they were probably going to invest in trying to get us to go the other way. But again, you could argue they're probably partially to blame for that as well, for keeping Peter Grant on for so long, for giving the job to John Hughes.
Well done, Agent Hughes.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I think they've probably come in and realised that it's not as easy as maybe what they thought they were, or thought it was going to be. And I think that the whole model that they've got going forward is to promote or sign younger players or bring through younger players and sell them on. We sell Josh Edwards for a 6-figure fee in the summer down to Charlton. So that's obviously what they want to do. Obviously, we sell Kevin Nisbet a couple of years ago to Hibs, and we got a nice sell on from when he went down to Millwall. I think UNO2 is probably going to be the next person who will be sold. We turned down apparently a 6-figure film for him in the summer.
I've heard rumours about that from someone.
Yeah.
You've heard from the same rumour mill as me.
Same rumours. But yeah, so I mean, I think at this stage the investors are probably like, right, we need to sort of stand on our own 2 feet, and I don't know if they've stopped putting money in, but that seems to be the suggestion at the moment, which is a bit concerning because I don't think.
Yeah, because the big complaint from what I'm hearing is the squad is wafer thin, especially the complaints over the goalkeeping situation and the cock up that got made.
Yeah, I mean that was. Listen, people can make mistakes, and I'm not going to sit here and like slaughter the chairman or anything because he came out and apologised and held his hands up and he was like, "Yeah, that was my bad," sort of thing. So, you have to take it at face value. But I think, the fact is we're going to be 2 games. I mean, obviously, I don't know. Come the weekend, hopefully we'll have another goalkeeper in because I think our only other keeper is something like 15 or 16 years old. So, I mean, I just find it pretty staggering that. We don't appear to not have the funds to bring in a backup goalkeeper, and I think part of that as well is, and this is probably where James McPake has to take a wee bit of the responsibility as well. Like it was his decision to give Dennis Mehmet a 3-year contract, so he's still got 2 years left in his contract. So he's going to be the number 1 goalkeeper because he'll be one of the highest paid players at the club, I would imagine. He had a cracking season when we were in League One, and that's why he ended up getting the 3-year contract, but. With nobody pushing him, nobody even to train with. It's just a bizarre situation. Like, I don't know what's happening in terms of the makeup of the board. There's been a couple of new board appointments, and these guys are obviously really successful and wealthy businessmen in Germany and Hamburg, but it doesn't appear to be their model that they're just going to chuck money at it until we get promoted. But I think there's probably a happy medium to be met there. Like I don't think everyone's expecting to, Gretna our way up the leagues and get back to the Premiership. But I think, as you've seen with St Mirren and Kilmarnock and all these other teams that have come down, Ross County, Dundee United, they're a wee bit different, obviously. But to get back out of the Championship does take money. Mm-hmm. Like you need money to get out of the Championship. And then once you get back to the Premiership, then, if we were in the Premiership, we'd be a sustainable Premiership club with probably not that much money needed to be put in because we're getting so many other sources of income and higher income when we're in the Premiership. But it's just there's a lot of unhappiness at the moment, and the squad is thin. It is looking really thin. So a couple of injuries again, and all of a sudden we could have a disaster like what we had last season.
Stephen, you obviously mentioned there that the morale is low. It certainly looks low when you see it in terms of like the players and stuff, but also on social media, like on the forums and stuff. The fans are just absolutely furious with everything that's going on. Any time that Dunfermline put any sort of social media post up, it's being sort of attacked. It's very similar to where we were sort of a few years ago, where everything was just absolutely like bawled at. Is there's rumours of like things like boycotting games, there's obviously lower attendances so far. Is that going to be the case next Saturday? We're going to notice a marked sort of reduction in the crowd, do you think?
I think Saturday might be a pretty pivotal day, to be honest with you. I think there'll be a decent Dunfermline crowd on Saturday. Maybe not as big as it would have been a few weeks ago, but I think there'll be a big home support. But if we get me on Saturday, then I think that's when you might start seeing more talky boycotts and stuff like that. I mean, a couple of my mates who are long-term members of the Centenary Club Lifeline, which puts in, significant amounts of money into the club every month, they've cancelled that. Right? I've heard that a couple of, and these are guys who are home and away every week. And they've cancelled it because they're just like, I'm just so disillusioned with it.
Is it a style of football, Stephen? Because that's another thing that you see on social media. It's McPake's style of football. We saw that in League One as well. You didn't, what you did was not. You got to that league by not scoring a lot of goals, but just like you say, Mehmet and the defence, Benedictus and stuff in front of them, you just didn't concede goals, and he's just, it was 1-0s, it was 2-1s, it was that kind of thing. There seems to be a criticism of the style of football. Have you hearing that as well?
Yeah, I think it was 13 points we finished in front of you by the end of the season or something. So it worked okay, I would say. But I think in terms of you know what, it's like anything. See, if you're winning with that style of football, nobody complains. You'll have seen it before as well with various Falkirk managers over the year, I presume. If you're winning and it's terrible football, you don't really care because you're winning. But to go back to what I said at the start, I think he's slightly concerned with the lack of pace at the back, and that means when you can really, really defensive at the moment. But unfortunately, we keep conceding goals, so it doesn't really matter. We may as well just go for it. So he seems to be sticking fairly rigidly to sort of this 5 at the back, or 3 with wing backs. But and Gwenois went off yesterday against Livingston, and he is our only left back. So
against our best players, a right winger.
I mean, again, you could put Uenotu out to the left-hand side, who would do a more than competent job there. He'd do a really good job, but then you miss him in the middle of the park. So, it's about getting that balance, I suppose. So, I mean, to be fair, I don't think it's necessarily the style of football. That's probably just another thing that's pissing off the fans at the moment. I don't think that's the major issue. But it just seems to be there's about a list of 5, 6, 7 different things, and things keep going wrong, and it's just not a good time at this moment. And if I'm being perfectly honest, I'm absolutely fucking dreading Saturday. I think it's going to be a terrible, terrible day. Because at the moment I can't see anything other than a Falkirk win, unfortunately.
Okay, hold on a minute. We are recording this, Stephen, right? Full of the bravado in the office every day, bravado on the podcast. It's all this Falkirk shite, Falkirk getting relegated, they won't win a match, and then he's come on this podcast and he's going, I think we're going to get beat on Saturday.
Well, I mean, I need to be realistic about it. I mean,
I love this new sense of realism you're getting, Stephen.
Yeah, I need to be realistic. I just think that, I mean, put it this way, if you don't win on Saturday, I'd be embarrassed if I were you. Then
it comes back, yeah.
It would be, you'd may as well just fold the football club if you don't beat us on Saturday, because if you can't beat us on Saturday, I mean, you've got absolutely no chance.
Sorry, Ross, what were you saying?
I'm saying I think there's only one team folding anytime soon with the sounds of it in terms of the finances.
Right, okay, let's look to Saturday then. Like you say, Dunfermline, a bit paper thin. Looking at the bench yesterday, Stephen, actually, just when you see like Sabrine and Chalmers, Whiting on the bench, those type of players, you've actually got some decent players to come off the bench. What do we think the score will be? Let's start off with you, Ross. What are you thinking for Saturday? What's your feelings on the game?
I thought initially it would be 2-1 to Falkirk. However, the more I'm reading, the more I'm seeing. I watched the highlights against Livingston yesterday as well. I think I'm going to share Stephen's outlook. I think Falkirk will win comfortably. I'm going to say 3-0.
3-0 for Ross. Stephen, what you said? You think you might get beat on Saturday? I'm guessing that's not your prediction, though.
No. Like I'm going to. I think that all things being equal, I think Falkirk have to go into the game as favourites because they obviously coming off the back of last season. You'd won on Friday night. We were pretty honking second half. Although I believe first half we did play pretty well and we did miss a couple of chances, so I don't think it was quite as bad as what people were hoping for. And to be fair, I think probably a lot of people have written off Livingston this season. And I
looked to their starting 11 yesterday, and I went, actually, they've tamed the good players. When you look at Kelly, you look at Yengi, the keeper Shamal George, I think is a good goalkeeper. And then I actually went, do you know what? They'll do all right.
I don't think there'll be many teams go to Livingston and win, to be honest with you. So obviously disappointing to lose, but I don't think I think there'll be a few teams that go to Livingston and drop points this season, put it that way. But still, I think if you don't win at least 2-0, I think that's an embarrassing result for Falkirk, to be honest with you.
I see what he's doing. I see what he's doing here, Ross. I see what he's doing here. Because if I'm going to work on Monday and I'm rubbing it in his face, well, I told you, that'll be it. But if they win, I'll be user shite. I told you he should have won by 2 goals. It can go either way for him by doing this. I can see what he's doing.
So I actually do think I probably a comfortable 2-0 Falkirk win is what I would go for. And if it's if we manage to keep it to within a goal, I think that will be pretty impressive given our current plight, and obviously use our invincibles in a tin pot league and all the rest of it. So it's all stacked against us. So if we manage to pull out a draw, that would be a fantastic result for us on Saturday. And if we somehow, a miracle, we manage to win, then I think I'd be fairly happy with that. Just to go back to what you were saying about, we've got strength on the bench and all the rest of it. Like, yes and no. Craig Whiting is one of these boys who is so frustrating because you can almost tell that he's quite a good player. He
loves a goal against Falkirk.
Yeah, he is a good player, but he's either injured. And saying that, apparently he played something like 26 matches last season, which I didn't realise, but he's just never really kicked on. And same with boys like Lewis McCann. Lewis McCann is capable of being unplayable on his day, but unfortunately it happens maybe once a season, which again is just really no use. So, I think Falkirk has to go in as favourites. I would take a draw. I would take a draw right now. I'd take a 0-0 draw right now.
Right. I'm going to sit in the middle as well with this because I see what you're doing. So I'm going to say it's going to be a 1-1 draw. I'm going to go 1-1 draw.
McGlynn would be under serious pressure if he only managed to get a draw against us.
Jesus Christ! It's mind games, Ross. It's mind games. This is going to be like this all week at work. I know it's going to be constant.
Let's stick to the optimistic outlook that Stephen has anyway, which is a comfortable win.
Comfortable Falkirk win. We'll go with that.
Well, anything else would be humiliation for Falkirk.
Right, fuck off, Stephen. Right.
Listen, Johnny's got a point. I think he's right. I think anything else other than a convincing win. We want to see black and white scarves thrown onto the pitch at full time.
That's what I'm here for. That, by the way.
By the way, we're probably not
all this at full time.
Well, we're not far away from that.
Does McPake lose his job? Do you think if they get beat on Saturday?
I don't know.
Be the Rovers match. That'll be the kind of decisive one.
So obviously, the following week is the League Cup, which we decided not to participate in this year because it's just a diddy competition and nobody's interested in it. So it would perhaps be an opportune time to depart with a manager because it gives you 2 weeks to get somebody else in. However, I don't think that's going to be the case. I think if we get beat on Saturday, which I fully expect us to do, I think he'll have to get funds to sign a couple of players because the fans are going to be going absolutely off their tits. And yeah, it's not going to be a nice place on Saturday come 5 o'clock if Falkirk, as Ross predicts and as I predict, and if you don't, obviously it'd be humiliating. But if you do have a comfortable win on Saturday, it would be. It's not going to be a nice place, East End Park, come 5 o'clock, certainly in the home end.
Fair enough. Right, brilliant. Stephen, thank you so much for coming on Falkirk Daft. I will see you in the office, and this banter will continue, and these mind games will continue for the rest of the week until we get to Saturday. I know you'll be on air when the game is happening. You can fully expect a tweet or a WhatsApp from me into the group chat come Saturday, and probably from our boss as well, if Falkirk get a win.
Yeah, totally. And you say that the mind games are going to continue this week. They're going to be continuing all season, John. So
yes, they are. Yes, they are.
I'll be ramping them up between now and the end of the season.
Brilliant. Thanks, Stephen. And get along. There's still tickets available for the Falkirk End. They've just opened the new section there, Rosshampton. They've just opened the war section as well for Falkirk supporters. So if you've not got your ticket yet, get along. And as we said earlier on, get the X24, the X27 from Forth Valley Hospital because it stops right outside East End Park, apparently. Thank you.
This is Falkirk Daft.
With Behind the Wall and the Falkirk football fans in training.
Thank you so much for listening or watching Falkirk Daft. Before we go, I've got to say thanks, obviously, to our sponsors, the Falkirk football fans in training. That is the T8s. You can get involved with them every Monday at the stadium between 8 and 9, or you can get Tuesday 7:30 to 8:30. Get a game of 7s, get a game of 8s, however they can get numbers they get in there. They play across the pitches, and it's a great chance to meet new friends, get the banter, and help your mental health. It really is a good thing, and we keep saying we're going to get it down, Ross. We'll definitely get it down and get some sort of revenge for the game we had against them last season as well.
We will. No, they're a brilliant bunch of guys. Can't do enough for you. Whether it's a football related conversation or otherwise. Fantastic bunch of guys, and I'm sure we'll be seeing quite a lot of them this year as well. Not only when we get down to play with them, but I'm sure our hospitality paths will cross.
No doubt. And remember, the Lava Cup, they've just announced the Lava Cup is returning to the stadium next May the 31st. Lava Cup, it was amazing last season. Teams from across Europe come to Falkirk, spend a fortune in the club shop, by the way, and it was just a great occasion. We went down, we checked it out as well. So Lava Cup coming back to the Falkirk Stadium May the 31st next year. So if you get involved with the T8s right now, you could be involved in that tournament as well, which would be absolutely amazing. So look out for that. We'll have more details as and when they come. But thank you very much for listening to this week's Falkirk Daft. You can get us on Twitter, Falkirk Daft, subscribe on our YouTube, and buy merch.falkirkdaft.co.uk. I actually thought, Ross, I saw this and I thought we should do this on the podcast. And it's just a wee thing I thought. I'm going to get you to answer this, right?
Okay.
Couple of quick fire questions. I'm going to put this on Twitter and we'll have your results on this next week. Okay, right. So league finish this season. Where are we finishing?
Falkirk.
Yeah.
Right. I've been thinking it. I'm going to say it. I think we're going to win the league.
Jesus Christ.
Stephen McGinn said that at half time.
Stephen McGinn did say that. Okay. Scottish Cup.
Who do I think will win, or how far we'll get? Sorry.
How far we'll get?
Oh, how far we'll get. Quarterfinals.
Top scorer. Obviously, we know the answer.
Ross McKeever with 30.
Obviously. Player of the year.
Brad Spencer.
Young player of the year.
Keelan Adams.
Who'll be the most improved player across the year?
At the current moment, Sean Mackey.
Signing of the season, who do you think will be the sign? No, we've got many sign. I guess you've got to take Dylan Tate on it. They've got to be signed.
Yeah. Well, in current,
Michael McKenna. Dylan Tate, yeah.
So far, I would say current, Dylan Tate.
So you think that he'll be the signing of the season? And give me a bold prediction for Falkirk this season.
Just something wacky.
Whatever you want.
I think as obviously I've made the claim that we're going to win the league, but because I think we will be consistent enough to win the league, right? I would not be shocked if we win another trophy this year, as in the Challenge Cup, as I think is within our sights. I think we will win the Challenge Cup this season as well.
There you go. So league and cup double. It says Ross Wayne. There you go. We'll put that out on our socials, so look out for that this week. We'll get your answers on that next week on the show. We'll be looking back at that big game at East End Park, and hopefully Stephen Mill's prediction will come true and we will absolutely pump them. If not, we probably won't do a podcast next week, and that'll be the end of Falkirk Daft if we get beat. God, imagine if Dunfermline finish our invincible 39 league unbeaten run. That would be horrible.
It's not going to happen, honestly.
Horrible.
This when Stephen was on, there will be scarves on the pitches and the pitch. There will be
That's the dream.
There will be kids and grannies crying in the stands. This is what I want to see at 4:45, and I want protests outside the main stand. When we're all leaving in the buses, we can give them the Vickies, and it'll just be brilliant. That's what we want.
That's what we're predicting for next season. Well, fingers crossed, we're back talking about Falkirk win this time next week. Thank you very much for listening to Falkirk Daft. Get involved in our Discord. Details are below. That's like a forum for all the sport. Good chat in there at the moment going on, especially ahead of the Dunfermline game. Like I say, you can get us on all your social media devices, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and if you want to get involved in the show as a commercial partner, as we just did a wee bit for Haldane there this episode, and obviously got a headline sponsors Behind the Wall and Falkirk Football Fancy Train, but you can do that, sales at falkirkdaft.co.uk. Get in touch with us, and we have lots of good deals, so we will read out your business and talk about your business on the show. Right, that's it, on to East End, here we go. Come on! It was down in the town of Dunfermline where most of the fighting was done. Come on! I'm 6 days away and I'm buzzing already. Come on!
Come on. Right, boys. Expect unexpected, buddy.